All right, hello everyone. Thank you. My name is Paul DeAngelis. How I became the world's greatest game developer. But it's just some tips and tricks for you all from my experience. So who am I? I have 10 years of experience with Unity, 6 or 7 years of experience with Blender, 2 years of experience with Unreal Engine. I made $67 on my Steam game, Nova Jumper. All right? My cat, she loves her vapes. I love Unity. It's a good game engine. But I've been experimenting around with Godot a little bit. But the thing is that, at the end of the day, I think I'm going to come back to Unity because, it's just the component system. It's just good. I know there's some licensing stuff going on, but sometimes you just got to look past the flaws. So first off, I just want to start with a quick video that talks about UX design, and it shows how different users interact with user experience, because my first point is how important user experience is. Does this have audio?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, we can hear it a little bit.
Wait.
It's
You might
just
have
low.
to turn it up over there.
Right.
You might, yeah.
Where's your function? Oh, crap. Alright.
Check it out.
Alright, hold on. Control F sub. Where's my mouse isn't moving.
What?
Wait, I got the spare. It's okay. I got the minus. I'll plug it in. There's no malware in my mouse. But you could theoretically do that. But I didn't do that. Alright.
Unfortunate.
Wow. I mean,
That's unfortunate, honestly.
I hate when the USB ports are at the same side of the mouse because it gets stuck. This is going terribly so far. This is a disaster.
No, no.
Alright.
How's it?
They're talking about Android.
I'm trying to get sponsored by Sprite, and I thought this was the Sprite building. Are you in the Sprite company? I came in from an airplane. I'm trying to get a Sprite sponsor. Have a seat, someplace. What's under your shirt? Don't do this, man. What's under your shirt? I'm trying to get sponsored by Sprite.
Okay.
That was done.
I think that was the wrong video, but what I was trying to show an example of good UI design and how people react. Okay, so meet the programming team. No, I actually love Terry Davis. First rule: keep it simple, silly. Okay, this is a rule for game development in general. Okay. The thing is that a lot of beginners, this is a pretty common thing you'll hear, is a lot of beginners, they try going over the top, they get idea creep, it comes in, and they just expand their game beyond the scope of what they're able to make. And the thing is, when you make a game too big, it makes the game bad, because you bite off more than you can chew, and what really makes a game shine is those little details. The little things is what counts, because you can already find all these generic games all over the place. If you want to play a generic game, download a Unity game template or whatever, game engine template, go run around, jump around that little template level. But what people want is world building, depth. When I first started playing Doom 2016, okay, I bought it about 15 days ago, it doesn't matter, but I started playing it, and the first level I was like, I'm not really gonna like this. I mean, this seems kind of generic to me. But then as I started getting into it, the more and more I played, I was like, oh, you know what? They're really building upon this. At first, it seemed generic, but once I went further and further, I realized they just kept building on this base. And that's the thing I want to say, is that every game kind of starts out generic, and that's okay. That's how every game is going to start. But the important thing is that you commit to it, and you love your game. You don't just abandon it, but you just keep building on that base. And that's what makes it special, is love and time. So life is complicated right now, but you don't want to put too much complication in games, because people got to deal with enough of that already. Ain't nobody got time for that. Your game should feel good naturally, you know? I think one thing I'll probably keep talking about is just loving your game. If you love your game, you're going to spend a lot of time tweaking movement and making sure it feels right, because you're going to be playing your game a lot. I mean, if you're working on a game that you really like, that's probably going to be the game you're playing the most. You don't want your game to make you so angry that you smash your keyboard and your keys fall over the ground like Lego pieces. Okay, I'm glad he didn't curse because I actually don't remember if he did.
It's Spanish curse, don't worry.
Okay, you know, I was playing some web games on, what's the website called? Not Pokey, it was, you know, one of those kind of sites. Mr. Squarely, that actually felt very good to play. It was fun. It's a simple game, okay? But it's fun. You Monster by Shumi. It's fun. And the little tentacles, like, you know, it's just, look, don't overcomplicate it. You know, when you're making a game, you know, people joke about brain rot, you know, the funny visuals, the flashing, you know, the color and stuff. I don't know the flashing light. I don't know if they have flashing lights in brain rot. Probably not that much. But anyway, the point is that, you know, don't. If it feels good and it looks good, that's good. Okay. I don't know. Portal feels great. Okay. And this is another example of just building off of a simple foundation. This first-person controller, did you know that the Source engine actually originates back at Doom? And Valve went to ID Software and they asked for their source code, and they actually gave it to them, and that's how they built their original Gold Source engine. And from that came the Source engine, which is what Portal's built on. So this character controller, you know, speaking of building on foundations, this foundation was built a long time ago by the people who made Doom. It's the same origin. This, oh my gosh, thank you. The GIF loaded, but you know, this example of a character controller that doesn't feel good. This was the Game Maker platformer demo. Your character gets stuck moving between different tile types, and it's like, come on, man, you're showing off your game engine here. All right, this Kung Fu guy's funny. Yeah, so I love my gifts. What can I say? But yeah. Key thing, iteration. Just like how you're going to iterate on your game, the development process, one simple way to add a progression system in your game is by having the users just be able to upgrade things over time. And even if your game isn't solely based on iteration, you know, even a game like Doom has a system where you just progressively upgrade your character and your weapons. And again, it can feel like if you're implementing these things and you feel like they've been done 1,000 times before, they can feel kind of stale. You're like, well, these other games have these upgrade systems. You know, I have to make mine really special. But again, I want to emphasize, every game is boring at first. Every game, every foundation is going to be boring. But it's about building on top of it. It's about how it connects with the entire game world as a whole as well. So yeah, and just, I think that it's also good to know software development, like kind of strategies, like agile, whatever. To be honest, okay, when I was in this class where I was learning about software development, it was so boring. Like I hated it. But yeah, I mean, agile it's a good framework because, I mean, honestly, this seems like common sense. But I'm just having like a framework to work with, so you don't feel like you're totally just improvising when it comes to coming up with how you're gonna make the game as a team. You know, it's important. These people already built this framework, so why build your own unless it's really a unique case? Yeah, we're working in groups. I think communication is very important, and that's just something I learned is that if you have a problem, you know, voice it. Learn how to be kind, but don't be unable to, you know, that's what I was going to say, is that in communication class they taught us to be direct. And that doesn't mean being aggressive in your speech, that doesn't mean being manipulative in your speech, that doesn't mean being, like look, it's tempting, I know a lot of us, at least me, kind of creative-minded people, it's easy to kind of neglect the communication side in terms of like, if there's something wrong, you just say, well, it's fine, just let it be. Or, I'm trying to think of an example, but it's good to speak up. It's good to speak up. If you have a problem, you're going to be fine to talk direct. People won't hate you if you're direct with them. But I know there's a temptation to kind of just not speak up if you have a problem. That's not good because that's going to build up over time, and you're going to have a result you're not happy with. And you want to be happy with your game. You want to love your game. Okay, I think it's very important to build your social media presence if you're an indie game developer. I think that the online world is the space where anybody outside of your local area is going to know about your game. I mean, I don't think that that's a true case. And the thing is, most people that are playing our games are not people we know directly. And the thing is, this is what I learned from releasing my game on Steam and having a hard time with marketing. Look, this is what I did when I released my game. I posted videos of the trailers to Reddit and Twitter. I didn't really have a following on Twitter. I made TikTok videos. TikTok was the most successful. Actually, that's not true. Reddit got a ton of views, but very low conversion rate. But higher than TikTok. TikTok got a good amount of views too. But Reddit was like 6,000 views on one of my trailers, so that was good. But the thing is, when you make a game and you put it on Steam, the conversion rate is going to be very low. Like, don't expect 50% of the people to view your page to buy the game. That's not reality at all. It's more like a really good conversion rate, I think, would be 5%. 1%, no, mine is 2 or 3%, okay? But the thing is that nowadays, I think it's super important for you to exist in the online space. Otherwise, people just don't want to bother with it. I don't know, like, unless your game's like AAA or like super polished, okay, which is like a very small percentage of the games. Unless it's that special golden nugget. Think about how many games are in there. Think about how many indie games are that kind of special stuff. It's very few compared to the actual number of indie games there are. So you want to build a community, and I think it's good to build a community around yourself, because if you want an alternative means of income too, it's good to have a YouTube channel. You can have a platform. If you build up like a YouTube channel, which is, I'm trying to do this, I don't have much experience with it, but if you build a platform around your own personality, like, that just seems like the best income stream ever, because you work for yourself, you just do whatever you want creatively, and you're just sharing with people and you're making money off of it. Oh yeah, subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. All right, let's help each other out, world together. Okay. Yeah, so what this says. Yeah, the consistency is important. Okay, the GIFs are loading, so Google Slides make me look like a poop head. All right, next slide. Okay. Yeah, this is me kind of talking to myself. I think it's good to have, like, you need foundations to build off of if you're making a game, and it's very hard to be creative if you're like super strained financially, because you're stressed. So this is an important thing I'll talk about is foundations, okay? So if you look at this triangle, this is a triangle of your needs, right? And if you want to make a good game, you actually need to be at the top of that triangle, because creative stuff comes only after the other stuff is fulfilled. So I think it's very important to have foundations. Now, I know it's difficult, today's economy, it's difficult, and I think for creative people, or certain people like me, I think it would be hard for me to do like a 9 to 5. And so just being able to find a way to make income, however that is, so that you can support yourself, I think that's important. Obviously, you need to survive, but if you don't want to live with your parents and stuff, and you want to live on your own, it's good to have freedom. That helps with creativity. But yeah, mental and physical health, that's a very important foundation. There's actually a lot of college students who suffer from at least one mental health concern. And these can really affect us more than we think in terms of our ability to get work done, and in our ability to really do think we're passionate about. If you're behind schoolwork and you're already having a tough time with that, or you're behind on work and work is causing you so much stress that you're just exhausted by the end of the day, you're not going to have time. If you do work a 9 to 5, you're not going to have time afterwards to put things into what you're actually passionate about. And that can just create this cycle of like, I'm never going to be free of what I want to do, but I have this job and I don't have the energy to kind of build my way out of it. I was diagnosed with OCD, anxiety, and depression last year, and therapy really changed the way I saw things and helped me have hope for having a good life, and helped me to embrace my creativity. And if you want any resources afterwards, you're starting with any of this, I will be happy to talk to you afterwards. All right, perfectionism is not a helpful mindset, okay? I think this is pretty common knowledge at this point, but I wasn't really aware of all the things perfectionism, but I think the biggest thing is about perfectionism is being afraid of kind of hating your own work and thinking your work's not good enough. And if that's the case, I think that's kind of a journey where you have to love your own work in order to make a game you love, because the only game that's going to sell is a game that has love poured into it, I think. So you have to learn to love yourself first. All right, so this is just some ideas of like posting to online platforms. Finding a partner could be a good idea. Networking is important. Something about networking, Nick. Genuine connections. If you can find that, that's such a beautiful thing. And so don't close your heart to it, even if you had difficulty with it in the past. All right, thank you. Oh, just kidding. What about AI? So there's AI is a difficult thing for game developers, for software developers, making it harder to get jobs. It's very frustrating, especially for artists who look at the things that ChatGPT is generating and see that it looks exactly like art that people put effort into and published online and never gave them permission to use to train their data sets. So this is a cool AI video I found.
Adrenaline.
Oh no, my spare feet. Okay. All right, so what I think we should do is really embrace ourselves. Okay, this sounds maybe hippy-dippy a little bit, but no, I think it is really important for us to be able to embrace our natural creativity, our ability to be genuine. So the thing with AI is that it's AI, okay, it puts out what you put into it. Seems kind of obvious, but if you're building a prompt for AI and you really want it to come out with something that's really good, you have to put a lot of specificity into it. Otherwise, it'll come out generic. Everybody knows what the generic ChatGPT generated artwork looks like, okay? You got the cartoon-looking guy with the round nose, the round eyes. Come on. I mean, most people recognize the ChatGPT default art style. But now, if you want it to do something more creative, you have to put a lot of words in, okay? And so what I'm saying is that ChatGPT doesn't take the creativity out of artwork necessarily if you're going that route of using AI. But what it does is it requires you to use a different medium. So instead of using skill to paint with brushstrokes, you actually have to use the skill of writing and language and context. You have to use those skills. It's just a transferring of skills, kind of. It does make it easier. It does steal people's jobs. It's terrible, but ultimately, it's here. It exists. So what are we gonna do? 5 minutes? Okay. So, yeah, just being genuine and being able to, I think everyone has potential for creativity, and I think what holds a lot of people back is kind of fear. Maybe it's too edgy, But the thing is that I think in the world we live in, there's a lot of darkness, and I think a lot of humans gonna be edgy, and I think, you know, I think there's too much kind of like political correctness that makes people afraid to kind of, you know, make jokes. Obviously, as long as you're not doing jokes and hatefulness, you know, but I think like the ability to have a good sense of humor is very important for creativity. Okay, yeah, I think that self-expression is really essential. I think in this new economy, AI economy is what I heard about, that it's called. Genuinity is very important, okay? So this is me ranting about hyper-capitalist economy. I think it's something deeper than just capitalism. I think capitalism isn't bad in and of itself, but when it becomes unregulated and stuff, I think that's not good, and I think I really was ranting in this slide. What's the point I'm trying to pull from this? Don't let yourself get stressed out from the way that the economy is. I think you know, try to become God, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, I think writing is an important skill if you are going to embrace AI. I think that you could change your mindset. You could say, hey, AI, if it can make video games, maybe it can just free up time of doing the nitty gritty, and instead I can just really focus on specifying and learning how to write really good prompts so that it creates actually like a really lively game. Okay. Talk about finances. Sponsored by NerdWallet. Oh my god. Okay. So you can still make money even if you're bad at art, you know? You could start a Twitch account, maybe a YouTube account, and people might like watching you grow. I scroll through YouTube shorts and I see like really crappy artwork sometimes, but it still gets like 20 likes, and that's more likes than I'm getting, and that's because they're willing to put themselves out there. All right, you know, try not to set too high standards for yourself. That's easy to say. That's a very important skill to to build up. Okay. All right, here's the interactive activity. All right, so my friend Dylan has a really good LinkedIn picture for his profile of him standing in front of people, and he's giving like a speech, and it looks really good for employers. So I was thinking maybe this could be a little activity for you all to practice your sense of aesthetics. So if you could all take your phones out, maybe take a picture of me doing a speech. I have a background here, and this is just for my LinkedIn profile. So we're just gonna be talking like this, okay? And whoever takes the best picture, you win the activity, okay? So I'm gonna be talking to people.
Well, is this good?
That is a little too far, I need my face in there.
Okay. Let me just.
He's got a good video, so I don't know, he might just win this automatically. But yeah, this is really testing your sense of aesthetics. I don't want to look too superficial, so, you know, we give me a speech here. Thank you.
Hang on.
Thank you, I really appreciate it. This is helpful, and this is good for you. You're learning aesthetics. It's educational.
Hang on. I still need.
You're making loose.
No, what do you mean?
You took too long. In the world of LinkedIn,
What do you mean? I only got your hair.
I can't use that. Okay, but look, in the world of LinkedIn, if you hesitate for one moment, you're dead.
Wait, hold on. Okay.
Therefore you lost.
Got him.
Okay, breathing.
All right, got it.
That's ugly, dude. I can't. Okay, so just you know what helps is square breathing. Okay, if you're freaking out. I don't know why this is like me like trying to calm myself down at like 1 a.m. in the morning, and I put this in a slideshow. Okay, YouTube. I already did this. All right, this is really the end, but I have some fruited or arrow page just to spice and just to give you a nice aesthetic towards the end.
End of time.
All right, we're done. Mario.